I'm Gordon Robbie, and this is Herb Helsel, and this is First Coast Journal, a program of information about events and people on the First Coast that make this a great place to be any time of year. You know, this time of year is pretty good here. For years and years, I've missed the red leaves and all that, but this is pretty good. We've had some great weather.
Well, I went up north for just a week.
I know you
one of
did.
the
You
shows,
poor guy,
and I got
know.
to see that red, and I'm glad to be back home. So.
Oh yes, well, no place like home, right? No place like the First Coast Journal. We got a good program again today. Thanks, Herb. We have we'll be hearing from the Second Harvest Food Bank, and this is the time of year, boy, more than ever that they need food. And then the the Women's Board of Wolfson Children's Hospital Art and Antique Show coming up, and we always enjoy them. They get some fantastic things they'll have this year. Right now, there's something that I think everybody ought to know about. And it's our heritage, our background, our freedom. There's a book out. It's written sort of for children, but I tell you what, I enjoyed reading it. I've read it a couple times already, and adults would enjoy it also. It sort of brings back things that we may have learned or taught as we were younger. It's called The Freedom Fairy Tale. And it was written, as most books seem to be, written by a very busy man. He's Dr. John Rossi. He's a veterinarian, and he's a lover of nature and of course, of animals, also of human nature. Nice to have you here, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
We've taken enough of our own time. We need to now concentrate on your book. It's called The Freedom Fairy Tale. We probably should have had taken a picture of this at that time. And it's available where right now?
You can order it online at
and we have a number on it, which is
freedomfairytale.com.
freedomfairytale.com. Freedom, it's no S in that freedom. It's
and also Amazon.com.
Oh, on Amazon.com too. You can
yep.
get freedomfairytale.com. There's a number for it, 264-9335. First of all, tell us basically what this is about.
Well, without trying,
you don't need to try.
Well, I seem to have come up with the history of humanity summed up in one short dream. My daughter asked me, "Dad, why is there so much fighting going on?" She was 13 at the time. Couldn't explain it to her. Fell asleep, had a crazy dream, jumped out of bed, ran to the kitchen table, struggled to find a pen and paper, and jotted down this story. I didn't realize who the characters were at the time. Basically, it was two families fighting with each other. Next thing I knew, the characters became obvious, who these characters were and what the struggle was. The Freedom Fairy Tale is basically explains how freedom is lost, and it summarizes kind of the history of what's been going on in the United States recently, but also it's kind of, like I said, the history of humanity. It is a great book to reach children. Grandparents would probably love to, this would be a great book for grandparents to give to their grandchildren. It'd be a great gift for parents to give to their children, because I think by the time a lot of people understand what's really going on, it's too late. Witness what's going on in Occupy Wall Street. I don't think a lot of those people have a real clear understanding of what's going on. And this book will help to reach children, perhaps before they get to college, and explain to them what's going on.
And sometimes I hear stories about children not being taught their heritage again, their freedom and stuff like that, and they don't know anything about the Constitution, particularly in public schools.
I agree.
And this may bring something back to them.
I hope it does, and that's the reason why we've incorporated in the back of the book explanations for all of these different philosophies. This is the kind of stuff that we probably learned when we were in high school, but it's not, something that's found in a lot of high school curriculums or elementary school curriculums.
The story goes, it would make a good holiday gift, Christmas gift for some children or grandchildren, wouldn't it?
Well, it sounds like it's not the typical book where you just give the child and they read it and you go on your way, but it sounds like it's a book where the parents or the grandparents talk about it afterwards. With
yes, I've had several teachers tell me that this book will result in days of discussion, not just hours of discussion, because there's so much in it. It's a much deeper book than what it looks like on the surface.
Oh, it is, yes.
Because we had a wonderful illustrator, Oscar Sen, bring it to life.
He's a local...
he is a local artist, but he's internationally known. And he did a phenomenal job on the characters. That was a very tough thing to do. It's kind of tough
it is.
to bring a character like socialism to life or communism to life.
And that's what yes.
And yet he's done a phenomenal job with this. When you first look at it, you think, oh, this is just a children's book. But it's a very deep story, and how these philosophies interact with each other is something that I never imagined.
You used the phrase, the story, the history of mankind, wasn't that it? To me, the Bible is also a history of mankind. If I said to probably the average person, I want to tell you about this, the Bible, the history of mankind, oh, I've seen that.
Right.
Unfortunately. If I said to them, there's a book here that's great, look at this, a history of man. Oh yeah, let me see it. Have you found that to be?
Yes, we've had a tremendous interest, and once they read it and they actually concentrate on it, they understand what's going on.
There's a family. It starts out with a family, man and wife, and they loved each other, lived happily, and so forth and so on. And they had children. They even adopted a few, and their names were Independence. Hard work, wow, self-worth, faith, hope, and of course charity.
Yes.
But then something happened, and they got some other bad children, didn't they? That's some bad children. I mean, they got that time. Life is not sweet all the time, is it? And their names are environmentalism, feminism, wealth envy, animal rights activism, and liberalism.
And you're going to make a whole bunch of enemies right now, and this is the
I hope
point.
so.
And this is the point at which some people put the book down. But if you think about it, where would these characters be? Where would these philosophies be were it not for capitalism and freedom? There would be no feminism if we were still in caves carrying clubs.
I saw you squirm in your chair.
Yes, and that's basically what I was trying to point out, was that these were the natural children of capitalism and freedom. If you don't have freedom, you don't have feminism, you don't have environmentalism, you don't have anything. And so you lose if you have freedom and you have capitalism, they have these children. And it's when the children interact with each other and they interact with the children of the other family, then you realize exactly what will happen. And it kind of predicts things, where things are going to go.
You recovered nicely. Your book sales went back up.
My book sales went back up.
The initial notion for children in terms of freedom sometimes is, I'm free to do whatever I want. And I think part of your message is in terms of there's a responsibility that goes with the freedom.
Definitely a responsibility that goes with the freedom. And we all have to work together. And there's a lot of confusion out there. In fact, we call these other children the angry, confused children for a reason. And we're seeing angry, confused children on Wall Street right now and around the country. They have acquired a set of beliefs that doesn't fit with reality, and then they invest their personality into it. They can't pull out of that. If they do, then they're giving up a large part of themselves. And by doing what they're doing, they're interfering with all of our freedoms, including their own. And that's what this book helps to prevent, because by the time they get to college and they've got a certain level of confusion built in, it's too late. And our goal is, or I guess the goal, once they put this book together, our goal here is to reach as many people as possible at an age when they can be reached, and even those who are a little bit older that may still be a little bit confused, and kind of give them at least the conservative philosophy. What is the conservative philosophy? People don't understand it. They're picking on the Tea Party. Have you ever been to a Tea Party meeting? It's a bunch of wonderful people, hardworking people. I'm not a big Tea Party, I love the Tea Party, but I'm not trying to sell the Tea Party to anybody. But they've been vilified. And if you go to these meetings, you see a bunch of wonderful, hardworking people who just don't want to lose their freedom.
You're a wonderful, hardworking person, but we still have to go. Time still limits us on everything. But there's one child in the family that saved them at the end. Her name is Hope, right?
Hope, yes. Hope was the only survivor. And she will be hopefully the savior in future books if we go that far. But Hope was the only one left hiding in the woods.
The Freedom Fairy Tale, written by a local author, produced by local folks, and it's a great book. It's been all over right now. They expect to be all over the world someday. You need to get you a copy. You can email. The website is freedomfairytale.com, or email them at contact at freedomfairytale.com, and no S in freedom. Or on the phone at 264-9335. Nice to have you here, and good luck on
Thank
that.
you.
We'll be following up on it.
Appreciate
We'll
that.
return with another page of the First Coast Journal.